So I think it's a big myth when people say that you need a volley with a continental grip. Yes, this is true sometimes, but it's not true all the time. It depends on the height of the ball and the target that you're trying to hit to. And so I actually promote changing grips for different types of volleys. So I'm going to show you some examples here. And so the first one is going to be a high ball that comes right at my face. And notice if I try to use a continental grip, I can't get my paddle into a good position without bending my wrist a lot. So I'm actually just going to use my topspin forehand grip when the ball comes right at my face to protect myself. Perfect. So see, I'm in the forehand grip, my hand's behind the paddle, and that's the best grip that I can use for this situation. Nice. So I might start off in a continental grip, but then I'm just making a quick change like this. I'm spinning the paddle so that I can get the paddle prepared at the right angle that I want. And now here's a more extreme example of that same thing. Let's say my target is near that red cone with this same exact shot. I'm gonna need to spin my paddle even more. And so it's all about just finding the right angle of the paddle that you want, not necessarily having to focus on where my knuckles are on the bevel on the paddle. So I just go like this, get my paddle pointed that direction, and that's where the ball is gonna go. See, with very little effort, I'm making the ball go that way. It's high and in front of me, so this is the best grip for me to use for this situation. Now I'm going to show you a very wide angle forehand volley. I'm doing it left-handed. If you're doing it right-handed, it would look something like this. We want our paddle almost pointed at our face so that we don't have to swing to make the ball go over there. And so I'm actually contacting on the right side of the ball if I'm right-handed, left side of the ball if I'm left-handed. And notice I'm not in a continental grip here. I'm actually in like an extreme continental grip. So I go a little bit past it so that I can get this angle of my paddle. Right? If I'm not in this grip, it's going to be very hard for me to get this angle without swinging. I change my grip as I'm going to the ball because I'm not sure what kind of ball I'm going to play yet. And then I can hit that really sharp angle with very little effort. And so notice I don't take my paddle back, because if I take my paddle backwards on this volley, then I have to swing to get it there. So I'm really just reaching out my paddle like this, making contact, sending a nice wide sharp angle that is probably going to be a winner in most situations. One more time. Now, same thing on the backhand. If I want to get that wide angle on my backhand, I'm left-handed. I am not going to use the same grip that we were just using, but I'm actually going to turn my hand over to a topspin forehand grip for this situation, because again, I need to get my paddle angled like this so that the ball is going to shoot off at a sharp angle to the left. So if I try to use a continental grip for this example, it's going to be very hard for me to get the ball to go over there. I have to swing. And so I actually recommend rotating to a topspin forehand grip, maybe an Eastern grip, semi-Western grip, so that we can get that paddle like this comfortably. And so same thing again, this is great for a wide ball, trying to hit a winning volley with very little effort. So see, the angle's already set for me, so all I have to do is just go out like that to the ball and I make it no problem. This is also great for a low ball. You can play a very aggressive volley, a very offensive volley from a low ball by putting an angle on it like this. Now, if I want to hit a forehand drop volley, for example, so not at an angle, just a drop volley, putting some backspin, I want my paddle very open. So this is good to use a continental grip or go even past the continental grip. The more open my paddle, the more I lead with this edge, the more backspin I'm going to get on the ball so I can make it die. And so a good time to use this is especially when the ball is coming in low to you. You can't play an aggressive volley in terms of power, but you can play an aggressive volley in terms of dropping it short. So I come in with my paddle very open, and I really just deaden the ball by putting a little bit of backspin on it. So those are pretty good shots, probably unreturnable by my opponent if they're at the baseline. So if I want to hit a more aggressive drop volley, I'm simply going to come in a little bit more with the edge first. I might do a little more backswing so that I can make that ball die in that front part of the court. And so I hit that one pretty high, but look how close it stays to the net. It's going to be very tough for my opponent to get back. And so notice that ball, it just really dies. It doesn't carry towards my opponent, and so it's even more likely to be a winner. Now, backhand drop volley, same grip we were talking about earlier, where when I was doing the wide angle, I want to get the paddle pointed almost at myself. This grip is also good for a backhand drop volley, also a low backhand volley, because I can get my paddle very open without having to bend my wrist, right? A lot of players, especially if they're in that continental grip, they're having to bend their wrist to open the paddle. That's an uncomfortable and unhealthy position to be in. So instead of that, I'm simply rotating my hand on the grip until my paddle is at the desired angle. So again, using a topspin forehand grip for this shot can be very beneficial. So here's the backhand drop volley. And I see a lot of players, they'll just volley right into the net because they're always so focused on that continental grip. And so their paddle angle is wrong for the shot and it goes right into the net. And so instead of that, make sure your paddle's very open so you don't have to swing up to make it go over the net. If I want to add a little more backspin to the drop volley, same thing. I'm just going to come in with a little more back swing, leading with that edge first. And so see, that's a safe shot because I cleared the net by a lot, ends up right near the cone, and it keeps bouncing in that same spot instead of carrying towards my opponent.